Do you live in the US and want fast, fresh and tasty meals without the hassle of shopping or all that hard work preparation? Well, don't you worry, as a lazy man, I've got you covered. Try America's #1 meal kit service, HelloFresh, and get yourself fresh, pre-portioned ingredients delivered direct to your door. So why not eat well, stay healthy, and avoid the cost of regular takeout by trying HelloFresh? Just click the link in the description below for a special limited time discount and free shipping as well. Enjoy. Well, it's official. We are favourites for the Irish Premiership title. 10 years in and we could have our first one, as it is in our hands with 6 games to go. We face Larne before the big league split today. It's a massive opportunity for this football club. If we win this one, we've all but secured second place at least, which is European group stage football next year. Is professional terms coming to this football club. But with a couple of injuries, there's still a little bit of doubt. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 87 of Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise going out of all of those cups, finishing third last year and not making the SPFL Trust Trophy, because look at it. We are 10 points clear of Linfield, who now only have 2 games in hand. They can only get within 4 of us if they win them. Larne are even worse. 2 games in hand, 15 points behind, but they got to the last 16 in the Europa Conference League and they've got to the final of the SPFL Trust Trophy. So it could conceivably be a year where all of us end up happy. But this is going to be a crucial game in deciding so. We've got Larne today, followed by the league split. We'll play the first of those games on camera today. Fingers crossed, it is going to be the chance for us to win our first title. 10 years in, Larne and Linfield have done an awful lot of coefficient work for us. But the crucial thing to remember, due to where this nation is now, is that if we finish in the top 2, we will get group stage football next year. And that means we will be able to turn professional. But if you're looking forward to the big game and seeing if we can get over the line this season, remember, we weren't in much worse of a position last year and managed to finish third. Then please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me show you the schedule for the few games off camera, which have been relatively good. Of course, we won those 2 games against Linfield last time, which were massive. And we were minutes away from throwing it away the very next game. And the result of this Coleraine match and the manner in which it happened made me think that maybe destiny was on my side this year. I'm not a massive believer in fate, but if you look at it, it was very tense. We were 1-0 down to Coleraine. We'd battered them for the whole game. Jonathan McElhatton came off the bench for Hartman, who had missed sitter after sitter. And he got 2 penalties, one of which was pretty soft. And in the 91st minute, he converted his second to officially put us in a position where Linfield could not catch us. We've backed it up with 2 more comfortable performances since, a 4-0 at Glentoran, 2 for McElhatton again, 1 for Hartman and Parry, and a 3-1 against Portadown, 2 more for Lennon, who has just been a super signing, and 1 for Aitken as well. And I was actually looking back to see if there were any patterns to our good seasons to our bad ones, and the ones where we'd finished well against the ones where we dropped away. And I found a pattern. Last year where we dropped away, I'm going to have to show you it on the transfer screen. We didn't really do anything in January. We loaned in Corey Craig and we extended a loan for a backup left back. We didn't bring in a superstar. This year we've brought in Lennon. We've seen the impact he made against Linfield and in that game against Portadown. And if you go back to the year before where we finished second, our previous best finish, in the January, we brought in a brand new starting right back and we brought in Colin McCann to the squad. So in the years where we've pushed on, we've generally brought in better players in January, or at least one first teamer. In the seasons we haven't, like last year, we've fallen away. So I'm hoping Lennon will officially be the difference maker, because there's no one new coming through in terms of our youth team. I know we're going to upgrade the facilities and that if we get to turn pro, but the youth candidates this year were average. So Ryan Miller is the best at 1-star ability, 4-star potential. He's pretty average, a good finisher, but no composure, and not the best personality as a striker. But he'll make it in the Irish leagues. It's just he probably won't make it for us. David Dooley is another one who, for some reason, they haven't asked to offer a contract to, so we'll fix that in a minute. 3.5-star potential for him. And then Scott McNichol has got the most current ability. He's 1.5 star at the moment with 3-star potential. But again, maybe an Irish League player. Not going to make it anywhere near our level. But he's got the pace and he's got the crossing and dribbling. So he'll make it for somebody. So not the best intake. Probably not people who are going to contribute to our first team. But that doesn't matter at the minute. We've got 2 games to show you. And I need to see how we've been comparing to Larne and Linfield because it's been mad. So let's start with Larne because they've dropped away massively. But they've actually been the hardest side we've faced this season. At their best, they're brilliant and they've done really well, but inconsistency earlier in the year and another sticky spell now has cost them, and it's just the fixtures catching up. They're still in the Irish Cup, they're heavy favourites to win that. They got through against Red Star in the last 32 of the Europa Conference League. They then made it to the last 16 against Bodo Glimt, where they just went out on aggregate but nicked another draw. But a few too many draws is simply the answer. They got through against Linfield in the SPFL Trust Trophy and they played extra time, which benefited both of us. And the fixture pile-up has been mad. But when you consider how bad the AI was last year, for them to be able to compete with these fixture lists shows that they've built a better level of squad. So that's excellent. And they might well win a couple of trophies. And they have done all the coefficient work that we're going to benefit from. For Linfield, on the other hand, it's been a bit more sticky for them. So following that game in the last episode where Ruari Lennon scored that screamer to win it, they then lost to Larne in extra time, and that was 120 minutes, 2 days before the Dungannon game, which they then drew 0-0. That was the first of 3 0-0 draws they've had against Dungannon, at home to Larne, which benefited us massively, and then at home to Coleraine too. So they have dropped 6 crucial points, and we have now taken advantage of them. Their run-in, by the way, is horrible. They've got 3 games before the league split. We talked about their games in hand. We expect them to win tonight, but then Coleraine and Larne away, and Larne or Linfield are going to drop points. So we're either guaranteed a title, or much closer to it, or we're going to be guaranteed second place mathematically. It can't go wrong for us. So maybe we get a result against Larne, Larne get a result against Linfield. Probably the perfect outcome for the first half of this episode, but both of them doing really well across the board. And Linfield, of course, have already won a domestic double in the Shield and the League Cup, so definitely nothing for them to be upset about. We'll, of course, have a look in the end of season review and the 10-year bookmark, what it's done to the European coefficient for us, but it is absolutely phenomenal. And Irish football, if we can then join those two, is going to go from strength to strength. Let's get through to the fixtures. It is Distillery v Larne. It's bottom side Carrick at home to Linfield. Maybe the best we can hope for is a 0-0. But I'd imagine they're going to win comfortably. Larne's still not bringing a big away crowd with them, which is the only disappointment. But they do play a flat 4-4-2, which we seem to struggle with a lot more, particularly given that centre-half is one of our weak spots. Now, we've managed to rest a few people in the week because we played Portadown after 2.5 weeks off. We had a couple of suspensions, which helped us as well. We got through that game, and now the big hitters come back in. So, Hartman didn't start the last match. Daniel's got a rest in central midfield because he's 1 yellow from a suspension and I didn't want him to get it. Robinson was just coming back from injury, so we chucked him in. Goss was also suspended, so he comes back in today. We've got a few others back on the bench as well. So our 11 in full is Neil Kane in goal. Williams and Akumu the fullbacks with Kean and Goss as centre-half. Daniels and Whitehall the midfield too. Parry and Poate the wingers. Then it's Lennon, the new star, behind Hartman up front. He's back into the team after a few games off. Morgan Griffiths just back on the bench, recommended in an emergency that he can have 45 minutes. And then otherwise, we've got a pretty strong bench. Just Robinson, who's knackered. He played that game, 2 days ago after injury. He's not quite match fit. And then the rest of them basically have been in the reserves. We did get Aitken on against Portadown, which was great. He obviously scored a goal again. And he is starting to improve a bit. But for now, we're going to submit the team. This isn't about developing youngsters. This is about winning our first title. Let's go and get into the match at home to Larne. We're going to drop to balanced. We're going to look at their side. It is a lot of changes. When was their last game, in fact? Because it looks like they've rotated almost fully. I'm still not taking the risk of going positive from the start. But when did they last play a football match? Because everyone looks pretty much fit for them. Their last game was on Wednesday night. So they have played Thursday in Europe, then Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They've got another game coming up Tuesday before that Linfield 1-2. This is an opportunity. Let's go and get through to the first half. I feel like their two teams, as well as picking up injuries now, are just running out of steam. So let's hope we get over the line today, go pro, get a reputation boost, and get into Europe too. As Larne are back with an early free kick. It's a bit of an ominous position this. We often let in goals from set pieces, and that one's off the woodwork, but Whitehall reacts to get there first. No chance of Larne scoring, but the first shot on target has come. We've not seen it on camera, but certainly not the dominance we used to, as Whitehall picks the ball up at the back. 20 on the clock now. Whitehall carries it forward again. Big ball over the top towards Hartman, but Kennedy heads away. Parry gets there, finds Lennon. What a sign in his bin. Puts Hartman in. Was he onside? It doesn't matter. Tipped away. He was off anyway. But Lennon opening the door again. Really starting to find that cutting edge for us. And it's definitely given us more of a goal threat. Puarte has picked up a tight thigh. No chance of risking it here. We'll see out this highlight and then bring on Pardy, because they're basically like for like anyway. As Whitehall's won the ball high up the pitch to Hartman. Kennedy wins the challenge, falls for Puarte. Last contribution for him here, and his contribution is to win a penalty kick for Rui Hartman. We're going to bring Pardy on for him, but what a last moment that is for him. Showed no sign of injury, powered through it, but then Hartman has smashed his penalty against the post. Oh, I've not seen that for a long time in FM. Penalty off the woodwork. It was a thunderbolt of a hit. But none of our strikers are great penalty takers. We just have them there because they're normally confident, having scored loads of goals. We've got big news in the other game though. Carrick are beating Linfield. The bottom side in the league are getting the defending champions at the minute. And now a draw looks a much better result. Imagine if we drop points against Larne and still make up a bit of ground. That would be fantastic, and it could really put us in the ascendancy. As Pardy the sub, down the right hand side, cuts it into Daniels. Wants to avoid a yellow for him today as Lennon switches for Parry. In he goes one-on-one. Dinks the keeper, but Smith on the line read it. Lovely play again. Lennon the man unlocking the door. But we're looking at some of the other players. Parry and Hartman not in great shape. Parry's got no competition at the minute because, of course, we know that Varma's out injured long term. But we're going to take off Hartman for McElhatton. He's just dropped off a little now as Rui Hartman. And I'm also going to take off Williams, who's knackered at left back. And on comes Curtis Bell. Ian struggling as well, so we'll go for Harley Jones. It's 4 changes made, 1 left in case of injury. With half an hour to go. We've been the better side. We probably should have scored the penalty. And Linfield have turned it around to put the pressure on. They're 3-1 up. Let's encourage our lads. Lennon struggling for fitness. Parry struggling for form. What do we do as Whitehall goes wide to Pardy. Back to Akumu. Has support down the line from Lennon. Great ball in for McElhatton. Nicks it off the defender. The shot straight at the goalkeeper though. Oh, my only choice now is Burns in midfield or Akumu off for Wilson at right back. We've got a free kick first with Daniels to the back post. Harley Jones up into Curtis Bell, the sub. Larne 21 game unbeaten run is about to be ended. And what a way to do it. 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go. But don't get too excited. Last episode we conceded from our kickoff and it's Bell who's made the mistake. Goss recovers though. Jones, no! No! What a way to give away a goal. Jones caught napping 4 yards out. How is it Goss's error? I don't know. Why did they not just clear it? Dallying on the ball in your own 6-yard box. I'm going to bring on Wilson. It's a straight swap there. Linfield are 5-1 up. And I thought for a moment we were going to do it. We're going to encourage them. There's 4 minutes added on. But a draw's not a disaster. Will it get better though? Daniels into Whitehall. Into Goss! Well, if he did make the mistake for the equaliser, he's certainly made up for it now. And just like the Coleraine game with the 91st minute penalty, that might be the moment that wins us the title. We're doing exactly what champions do. We're scoring late goals. We're nicking late points. And that goal must be the one that does it. We're going to go defensive fullbacks. We're going to go another defensive midfielder, deep line playmaker on support. We're going to drop the wingers in. Don't want to change tactic. Don't go doing that. We're going to drop the wingers in here. And Pardy will drop to the right of midfield. Parry, get McElhatton back up front, will drop to the left. And we are going to go for nothing too drastic, I don't think. We're just going to time waste all the time. And we're going to slow the pace down when we get it. We'll also be a bit more disciplined too. But this could be the big 3 points. Another one of those moments. We saw it against Coleraine. We saw it with Lennon's strike against Linfield. And we've seen it now. Moments that decide a title. And we might have just delivered it. 2 defenders score the goals in this one. And what a win. Well done, lads. We weren't at our best, but you don't need to be at this stage. It is a big win. We stay 10 points clear. Linfield have got 7 to play. And it means they can't close the gap. Larne are out of it now, which is brilliant. If they win their 7 games, they get up to 21 points, which means they'll be on 91. So we need one more win to stop Larne winning the league and to finish above them. That's the European group stages and turning pro done. If they win those games or take points off Linfield, it makes our job easier anyway. So let's go and get ahead to the league split. There's a big game between Larne and Linfield before it. We'll be back in a moment to start our final 5 games, and we'll of course reflect on what happens in the meantime. Well, here we go then. It is our first game following a league split, and we go to Glentoran, who have had a troubled week due to no fault of their own. For now though, let's go and have a look at the fixtures because things have gone very well for us. If we go back for the last couple of weeks, let's get back to when we played. That stoppage time winner against Larne was the first of many decisive ones over the next week, because if you look 3 days later, Larne were beaten at home by Ballymena United, but Linfield in the 91st minute got themselves a win to stay in touch. But then, look what happened against Larne. 92nd minute equaliser for the hosts, and overall it has been a perfect spell for us. Add to that, very interestingly, that Larne went out of the Irish Cup unexpectedly to lower league opposition, and now Coleraine are the favourites for that in the final against Warren Point. And if they win it, that means I think that Larne will have to go through the European Places playoff, so that could be a problem for Irish football if they don't win it. But for now, Linfield go to Ballymena, we go to Glentoran, and Larne are hosting Coleraine. But crucially, Larne officially can't catch us now. We have guaranteed the top 2. We'll be in the SPFL trophy next year. We'll be in the European group stages and going pro. The only question is now, will we have our first title? We're 6 clear. A game against Linfield's going to be crucial, of course. But for now, 3,000 fans in for this one. Let's go and pick our team for today's game. It should be pretty similar to last time. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. Well, here we go then. We've gone for the same 11 as the Larne game, which I don't think you'll be that surprised about. Griffiths and Robinson back to fitness on the bench. Puarte makes it after that knock last game. We're in good shape. We've got a good team. We're going to start positive against Glentoran, but in these sorts of games, if we go a goal up now, we can drop back because this is about getting results. It's not about looking flashy. So into the Glentoran game in front of a big crowd. Let's hope we can get one step closer to the title. We'll of course keep an eye on the other results too, as Colin McCann drops out of the squad to date for Glentoran. Barry Coffey, another former player, is still on the bench, and Andrew Bell and Jason Armstrong, still very good footballers at this level. Daniel Finlayson must be getting on now. He's their skipper in defence. We're going to get into the first half. It's all about Distillery. Can we edge closer to the title? Let's go and find out. Well, just under 15 minutes on the clock because it's a big long ball forward from Glentoran, which is intercepted and played right to Puarte. Whitehall puts Lennon in. Great run. And his shot's just wide of the post. He's made such an impact in that role. He's been what Morgan Griffiths is at his best. And when you look at the injuries, oh no, it's happened again. It happened against Glentoran last year. We're getting a hint of deja vu. Do you remember this? This cost us the title last season. We played at home to Glentoran. We got an early red card. It was Whitehall that time. And we completely collapsed. Oh, don't let it happen again. We're bottling it again against the same team in the same way. Lennon will go into the playmaker role. We'll drop to balance, but it can't happen again. Now Linfield are going to go and get a big win, aren't they? This is absolutely heartbreaking. We know it's going to be the same. The biggest sense of deja vu I have ever had in this save. Although Williams goes in, he thunders in as well. What is it with the big games and red cards? As Morgan puts in Bell, that'll be 1-0, will it? No. Kane makes the save. This now becomes a must-not-lose match. If we can hold on for a point, it becomes a big result. But Glentoran are going to push as Akumu gets down the right-hand side. Again, they play 4-4-2, which is why we might struggle a bit more, But that ball finds Hartman. Great turn to beat his man. Into the box, he wins a penalty. But he missed his last one. He's not scored many in his last 4 or 5. But Rui, this is the big game I brought you in for. This is why I wanted you at the club this season. He puts it down the middle. No doubt at all as the keeper dives out the way. And yes, we've done the same as last year. We've bottled it with an early red card. We've done it against the same opposition. But this time, we've got the lead from the spot. Linfield still 0-0. Larne the same, but we're not worried about them. It's half an hour gone. It's going to be a boring game to watch now, but we want to make sure we nick it. There's a long ball forward from Glentoran. Goss heads away for Whitehall. Out to Puarte on the right, who gives it away. Forced back to Murray at left back. The other position I'm looking at improvement really is the right wing in the summer. As Bell gets in, he can cut it back here. Do not concede with Armstrong. Just wide. Great deflection from Goss. And he manages to nick it round the post. Tempted to drop the fullbacks here, just so we've not got a 2-on-2 every time. As Morgan gets it wide. Kane punches well. Kelly brings it down. Good challenge from Parry. And he'll bring the ball away. Can we nick a second? Parry comes down the left-hand side. Don't need support now, do you? Gives it away on halfway, but he wasted a few seconds. I am going to drop the fullbacks. I don't want to get caught out. We'll go defensive with them. No need for them to support the attack now. We are playing for the 1-0. We're nearly half-time. We've got the time wasting on. We're slowing it down when the goalkeeper's got it. We are making sure this is ugly. This is a test of discipline. Sean Daniels has let us down, but what can the rest do here? It's not going to be a vintage performance for anyone now. You're not going to see the big average ratings, but you can see it. Linfield have taken the lead. We have now got to hold on. McCausland with a free kick for Glentoran. Forbes headers wide. We're all right. If they're taking headers from the edge of the box, that's all right for us. But can we keep them away? They're starting to have more shots. They've got a very good free kick here. And Andrew Bell surely will score it. We all know the script for FM. Oh, it's off the bar. Kelly's rebound just wide. Great challenge there. It's still 1-0. With 25 to go, this is getting very tense. We're going to wait for the corner before making changes, but it's into the back post, and Neil Kane claims it well. I might even drop to a 4-4-1 here. Puarte can play right midfield anyway. He'll stay there. Parry is going to come off for Curtis Bell, and he will drop to the left of a 4. Lennon, not really the most defensive-minded, so Tom Robinson on for him. We've got 25 to go. We've made 2 changes, and we'll sit on the rest for now. Can we hold on in a game where we're being outplayed now? We're soaking up pressure deliberately, but the set pieces are starting to build, and they've got an extra man in there. Big clearance from Akumu. Bell brings it down. Finds his man Morgan. Chasing back is the striker, but not quickly enough. Great effort, Morgan just over. They're not creating great chances, are they? It's set pieces, it's long-range shots, and we're 10 to go. Whitehall's on a yellow. I'm not even risking that. On comes Morgan Griffiths. Kean's knackered at centre-half. On comes Harley Jones. 4 changes made. We'll time waste with 1 later on. As Robinson in midfield. Wide to Bell. Not often going to be used as a left midfielder for us, but we'll enjoy it today. Finlayson out to Armstrong. The changes are pending, and I always get worried as Goss finds Williams. Just keeping the ball at the back. This is all we need to do. We're holding on for dear life. We're into stoppage time. There are 4 minutes of it. Hartman is going to come off up front for McElhatton, literally to waste a few seconds. And I hope it's enough. We've dropped to cautious. There's 2 more minutes. That is huge. That is sensational. Sean Daniels, take your fine and get on with it. Rui Hartman called from the penalty. Redemption for him. And it is another big victory that shows the sign of champions. It was a very similar script at the start to last year. And last season we crumbled under that pressure. This year, we stood up to the occasion. A big striker made the difference. The defence was rock solid. Look at the 3 signings that weren't here last year, all with an average rating above a 7. And what a result it is. 1-0 away at Glentoran. And surely now it's done. Let's go and look at the schedule for when we're going to be back. Well, Linfield hold on for a 1-0 win. And the crucial thing is we play them on the final day. We've got to get it wrapped up before then because I can't handle that. Basically, if we win our 2 home games against Coleraine and Ballymena and we draw against Larne away from home, it will be job done and we won't have to worry about the Linfield match. So we'll come back when it looks like it's going to be done. That will probably be Coleraine and then we'll show the Linfield game too. But we are moments away from history and we are doing it properly. Performances of champions, a great 1-0 win with 10 men, brilliant last-ditch wins against Larne and Coleraine. If you're looking forward to the end of the season, seeing if we can avoid the bottle job this year, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of those 2 crucial wins, big performances in difficult circumstances. And do you think we'll do it? Let me know your prediction. If you want to stay up to date and find out, we'll be back in a couple of days' time for the conclusion to this title race. Subscribe and turn that notification bell on to make sure you don't miss it. In the meantime, we're back with the head coach tomorrow. The latest season of that one has been very interesting. It's eventful. It's up in the eye above if you've missed it. There's also links there to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and the blog story as well. I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time as we look to finish it by making history.